Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're back to talk post-fight. Billy Joe Saunders is stopped on his stool in the beginning of round 9. I'm here with Rick. Immediate reaction. I feel like I need to watch the fight again, to be honest. But what are your first thoughts, Rick?
Oh, I'm knackered because it's getting up at 3 a.m. here, and it's now like 5 or something. So I was enjoying it. Sleepy first round. It kind of lit up a bit. I had Billy Joe competitive. I wouldn't say I had him winning. It's hard to score when you're kind of emotionally involved. I was aware of that, but I just remember thinking he ain't doing enough here to win this in his home ground, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought he definitely had some success. Definitely won some rounds, and he looked like he was getting cuter during the fight, actually. And there was a few rounds, like 4 or 5, where his arm started to drop and he was relaxing, and it was going quite well. Canelo was hard to catch with the jab. Smith has said before, he's so hard to hit, and I think Billy Joe Saunders was worried. Was probably surprised how hard he was to hit with that jab. But he did get through a few times, double jabbed a few times. Canelo was always looking for that uppercut early on. I remember thinking to myself, as he tires, he may just be a split second late. He's obviously been working on it because Billy Joe dips a lot after an exchange coming up, and that's the exact punch that kind of landed. But strange ending. What did you make of the fight and the ending?
Yeah, it's really disappointing. I think I've been following it a little bit on Twitter as well. There's talk of he may have fractured a orbital bone, or Canelo actually said to Eddie Reynoso saying he's not going to come out for round 9 because I've just broken his jaw or fractured his cheekbone. Yeah. So it looks to me like it's a really bad injury. So you've got to say it's a really classy performance and stoppage from Canelo. I wasn't expecting him to stop him. Obviously, we did predict a Canelo win. I did think that it was going to be a lot tighter on the scorecards. I actually found out what the scorecards were.
Oh, well, what are they?
As well, yeah. One sec, I'll tell you now.
By the way, the zone were very split. Chris Mannix had something like after 7 rounds, I think he had Canelo down by like 3 points. Broch had Canelo up by 2. So it was shaping up to a very hard one to score.
Yeah.
That's a British guy as well saying that. An American, American, not Mexican, but it was going very hard to score. And there's a guy on Facebook, massive Billy Joe Saunders fan, and I've just had a bit of an exchange with him, pleasant one, but he go 5 up, absolutely schooling him. I'm like, nah, seeing that through Billy Joe Saunders' eyes, really.
Yeah.
I thought competitive. I thought he did well in spells, and it was shaping up how I thought. Other than for the stoppage, I was like, I can just see Canelo coming back a little bit, and then it'll be a points win, but comfortable. But
yeah, I think that is the way it was going. I was expecting it to be a little bit tighter, but the scorecards anyway were 2 judges had it 78-74, and then one judge had it 77-75. So there was one judge that had it a lot closer. The other 2 had it, Canelo 4 up. So they're pretty wide. Mike Coppinger had it level.
Yeah, I didn't see it that wide. I think after 7, I probably had it. I think I had it a bit tighter than you. I think I had it 4-3. But even then, I may be a little bit Billy Joe Saunders' eyes, admittedly. That first round is really hard to score. Like that one. Often first rounds on big fights, it's like, how do you score that? No one really did much. It was feeling each other out. So, but yeah, you can see some of them are swinging. You know what I mean? People have it close. But, if it had ended there, if it was just a 7-round fight, I wouldn't have had an issue if Canelo had won. I wouldn't have screamed robbery or anything like that.
No.
But at the end of the day, he found the punch, didn't he? And he was looking for it all night, so it wasn't a fluke. And if it hadn't have come in the 8th, it may have come in the 9th, or I think Billy Joe's just dropped off, as you're going to tire. Maybe it was the body shots.
Yeah.
So he was getting body shots. I think he was doing a good job at blocking them, but yeah.
And actually, he's got a very good chin. I mean, he got tagged badly with some uppercuts and some, you know, body shots. So he did show a lot of resilience in there. And yeah, that part of it, I guess, kind of went how I thought it was going to go. And obviously, Billy Joe kind of he kind of looked more like the boxer than Canelo in phases of that fight. But you know, obviously Canelo's class came through in the end, and you know, a worthy winner. I don't think anybody's going to be looking to, you know, for a rematch or anything like that. And I think, you know, our last video, as well as it did, we kind of came off as Billy Joe fanboys. We got quite a lot of stick. But yeah, no, I thought it was a valiant effort from Billy Joe. Yeah, I think onwards and upwards for Canelo, and hopefully they can make the Caleb Plant Caleb Plant fight next.
I mean, we do try and be objective. It is hard, you know. We do get emotional for our fighters. It's natural, but I do think, you know, we're more objective of some of the people that comment that are either kind of really one way or another. I mean, we did say that Billy Joe doesn't have much power, and we got some comments saying he's great power and it'll KO Canelo. Yeah. It's just like so much power, and even if he did have it, Canelo's got probably one of the best chins as well. And that's the problem with Canelo. He's just like an 8 in everything. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
He is, yeah, yeah, pretty special. And that's one of his most impressive performances, I think, actually, for Canelo, because Callum Smith was a good performance, but something tells me Callum Smith was injured in that fight. I don't think he was 100%.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like when you're in there. You know, you get tagged a little bit, you know, and Billy Joe. I mean, I thought the zone commentary was pretty good today, and they were saying like, you can tell that Billy Joe has felt some of those body shots, even if they've not hit fully the elbow, because every time Canelo kind of went, you know, it got a reaction. Yeah, which is, yeah, especially only had his hands up, and then he relaxed. I think what was quite impressive for me is that Billy Joe's looked like he was getting into a flow, you know, in rounds like 4 and 5. Yeah, and you know, and so I'd say it started off a bit bland, then Canelo seemed to kind of step it up a bit. Then Billy Joe came into it, and you're like, right, where's this headed now? And the 7th was a close fight. It was almost like Canelo, close round. Canelo was wrestling it back. And then, again, the 8th was like the fight had been quite cagey. And as soon as that punch landed, and I've just seen it back now. I remember it now because Billy Joe stumbled back. But I remember thinking, oh, was that just a caught off balance?
Yes, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
That was the shot that hit the eye. And I think it's one of those where I don't think Billy Joe was hurt in a sense of he couldn't, you know, he didn't have his legs or anything like that. It wasn't a chin thing. Because even then, Canelo came after him and he kind of was ducking out the way, and he got a few more shots after that, but he still eluded quite well. But I think as a boxer, you just know. Yeah. You're probably just like, that is not right. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm thinking. So, what were you thinking when it actually ended? What was going through your mind?
I was just really disappointed. Really disappointed that he wasn't. I mean, the eye looked terrible, but I really didn't think he would stop. I mean, there's a lot of people already calling him quitter and all that kind of stuff. I think it's got to be a bad injury for him to not go back out.
Well, whether they're using the angle of it, that I'm hearing them say the corner wouldn't let him go out.
Right. Oh, okay.
So it's not a bad way of spinning it. It's like, I mean, I didn't see Billy Joe kind of arguing that much. Yeah. I don't know if it was turned around and went like that, and they're saying the corner wouldn't let him go out. And to be fair, that is probably a corner's job. If they like, that's a really bad injury, we're not letting you go out because, you know, it was weird actually, because when Canelo went back to the corner, he since said in the interview, he knew that it was over. He must know by the look of it, probably the feel, that he caused some real damage. But he went back to the ring like that, and I thought, steady on, mate. Do you know what I mean? And then he got up, and I don't know if his own commentary were a bit behind or something, but he got up off his stool and started doing that before the start of the 9th round. And I thought, steady on, mate. You know, there's still a fight to be had. Then he got up on the buckles, and I was like, I've never seen this before, because even DAZN weren't saying it was over at that point. And I stupidly was like, why are you up on the buckles? Like, that's a bit over the top considering there's another like 3 rounds. And I was probably because I've had lack of sleep. Thick me didn't realise. And then they just said, it's over, it's been stopped. I was like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah. Just disappointing.
What do you think? Where do you think he goes?
Billy Joe? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean,
retire probably.
You think so?
I think so. I think he's the kind of person that, and you've heard him say all before, he goes, you know, I want to get to the top. It's a bit like I think Tyson might do it. I don't know. Once they get beat, it's kind of like, well, not quite. If I can't be the best, I'm not going to bother now. And he's made a lot of money, and he's not young. And it's just like, I just think, what's going to excite him? He's someone who needs a big challenge to get up for. What's going to excite him? Maybe a bank rematch, but again, if you lost, you know.
I think, unless it's a bit, I mean, that is going to be, you know, the pinnacle, you know, fighting, you know, against Canelo in front of 73,000. Is he going to be up for, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. in front of 20,000 at the O2 or, you know, something like that? Probably not. So maybe, maybe you're right. And Canelo, I think this is his division now. You know, he easy makes super middleweight. They said he's going to fight on for another 6 or 7 years. I think he's too small for light heavy. So he's really going to dominate that 168 division now. And yeah, maybe unless he steps back down.
Maybe for Charlie, that'd be a big fight for America, wouldn't it?
But I think he's won a lot of new fans in the US with that performance. You know, he did show, you know, his ability, and he was, you know, a live dog in that fight. But I think it was really only going one way. You know, Canelo, I think, was really going to cruise to a points win. So yeah, there we are. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for watching and sharing the last video and the comments. Keep them coming. Let's do a boxing news later today, because I think there's going to be a lot to sort of dissect and talk through. I know Liam Smith fought last night, so I want to talk about that. But yeah, I've got parental duties to attend to now, so I'm going to have to tap out. But thanks again to everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe.